back on track.
Hmm. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think they'll do reconciliation
They
instead?
they might it's I think based on what I'm seeing is that the president is trying to reach across the aisle and get the other side involved, which obviously for everybody involved, it's better for us to have the two parties working together. I think we've seen since President Obama was elected the effects of not working together, and that's certainly bad for everybody.
Hmm.
We need that kind of cooperation, and it's going to be interesting to see the way it all shakes out, because we can't have one party saying it's my way or the highway. Real politics is the art of compromise and trying to get everybody to agree on something that may not give everybody exactly what they want, but at least gets us on the right track.
Well,
So
let me ask you. I know this is not a political conversation, but since you said that, how do you work with people that have let you know that no matter what, they're never going to agree because that's how they told the Trump line
mhm,
is never agreeing with anything, and that's what they've done in the past, like you said, when even when they were running things.
yeah, you know, there's always going to be a certain faction of folks that you can't get to. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, I find that in my business, no matter how much I explain to folks what that they absolutely must plan for their futures, because if they don't do it, nobody's going to do it for them. There's still going to be the kind of people, you know, like the old saying, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. And it's the same thing with anything that goes on in Washington, D.C. I think the key is finding enough cooperation and enough like-minded thinking to where you can get a majority, which is what it takes. So anyway, as far as the stimulus package goes, what we're talking about is cash money that is going to be used for folks to help them make ends meet, feed their families, make sure that the roof over their head is paid for, whatever it is that they're doing. When it comes to those types of folks, cash is king, liquidity is king. You need to have access to the kind of funds that you need in order to do the week to week living that you need to do with your families. So when I talk to people a lot about, excuse me, what they're going to do with that money, unless they've been planning ahead and they've been saving and they've been doing the things they need to do, this money is literally going to be for them to hopefully survive until this pandemic is over.
So, do you think? I mean, I live in Indiana, and the standard of living is not super high here. So our rents are lower, food's less, all of this. It's still high. $1,600 ain't nothing, even for a state like this. And when you are behind 4 or 5 months, it's. I mean, I say thank you to any gift. I'll take it.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm not sure how much that's going to change anything when they're saying it might not be till July till everyone can even be vaccinated or want to be vaccinated for the holdouts. So I'm appreciative of whatever happens. What if it's another $600 or $1,600? I'll take it. But I know that people like me and people worse off than me, because I have a roof over my head, I am very blessed. That's not a lot of money.
Right. Right.
Mm.
Well, this whole business of COVID, this whole business of what we're experiencing with the weather over the past week down in Texas, what's going on there's a lot of wake up calls that we're all facing,
Mm-hmm.
and we can use this as a cautionary tale, whether it's COVID or the blizzard that we just experienced. When it comes to financial planning, this is what I always say: financial planning isn't about taking advantage of the good times. It's something we need to do, but financial planning is preparing for the bad times. That's all it is, because you want to make sure that you've got enough to get you through the lean times. If you lose a job, if there's a pandemic, if you get injured, if you have to take care of an aging parent, whatever it is that keeps you away from working, we have to prepare for those lean times harder than we plan for the good times. So yeah, this is a really good indicator as to why everybody out there needs to have someone like me, a financial advisor who's your quarterback and can help you make ongoing good decisions. Because I have to say, I'm going to be 60. I'm 61, and I don't plan on retiring anytime soon. But there's going to come a day for all of us when we're not working anymore, and we have to plan ahead for what we're going to do with ourselves and how we're going to live. So for a lot of people, this $1,400 stimulus, it's a nice little bonus. They'll use it for whatever. For other people like you, Cynda, and people you know, you're saying, it's nice, but it's a drop in the bucket compared to where I'm at, the financial hole that I found myself in.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm a lot better off than some people because I work in an industry where, one job for a week could catch me up for a year,
Right.
so I'm not like everybody. Most people, if you work 2-3 jobs, it's hard to catch up, and I know that DJ Kid Disco and I the other day, we had a little debate about the $15 an hour minimum wage. And he was saying, I'm a skilled professional and that's what I'm making. So does this mean that my wages will go up too? If a person at McDonald's is making $15 an hour, what am I going to be making? I put the effort in, I put the time in, I went to school, I became a skilled person. So what happens to my wages? And that was a valid point and question. And so
It's a very valid point, and
Mm-hmm.
it's very well taken. However, we can't discount the fact that people working at low-skilled jobs still need to have a livable wage. And when you look at inflation, since the last minimum wage increase, when you add inflation in, the actual minimum wage right now should be probably around over $20 an hour. So yes, I understand about having skills, but the other thing that we also have to understand when it comes to getting paid is we have to acquire skills that people in the marketplace demands.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a huge difference in what we can earn. I remember, I don't know about you ladies, but I don't, it's either you're Cynda, I know you're not a veteran, but Shelly, were you ever in the military or know anybody in the military or anything like that? Oh, she's unmuted.
That would be me, CJ. I'm sorry.
You were? Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine. So, I don't know what the hell my point was.
Your point is you were talking about veterans and
I was a corpsman in the Navy. So basically, for those of you who don't know what a corpsman is, it's like a medic. It's somebody who takes care of the injured, whether it's on the battlefield or during peacetime, whatever it is. And after I got out of the military, I went to the firefighting academy and I went to EMT school and I got my paramedic certification. And what's really interesting is that while the job of EMT or a paramedic is absolutely essential to the functioning of society, those people don't get paid. And I was in college for a long time to learn those skills between the firefighting academy, going to college for EMT training and going to college for paramedic training. I did it in Florida where it was a collegiate level course. I had to pass these courses with 80%. The standards were very high. And then I got out into the world working as an EMT and it was a minimum wage job. The marketplace is all screwed up when it comes to what's valued and what isn't. Now I'm in the financial industry and the financial industry does pay a lot better. And that's why I'm in it. So a lot of what we have to look at when we're teaching ourselves skills or we're giving ourselves skills, the reason we do that is to have a foundation of being able to take care of ourselves, take care of our families, save for our futures, all of those kinds of things. And it's really our responsibility to look at occupations and vocations that allow us to do precisely that. I had a conversation this morning with my wife and one of my coworkers about how if you're in the arts these days, it's a vocation that unfortunately due to technology has been devalued because there's so much content available for free everywhere, whether it's music, whether it's art, whether it's video or movies or television, people expect it for free. And so Cynda was in a film that I directed and produced. And what's really interesting about that is we just secured an international distributor that's going to be putting it out there. And once that's done, it's going to go on the streaming platforms where it's going to be available to the public for free. And what's really, really tragic about that is that for my film, which is a high quality film, once it goes to streaming on Amazon, take a guess, how much does Amazon pay per hour to a movie creator that has their movie on Amazon's platform? So they're able to monetize that movie because it's in their library. How much do you think the movie maker, the filmmaker gets by doing so? Take a guess, Shelly. What do you think?
So how much does the filmmaker?
How much does the filmmaker make every time somebody watches a movie on Amazon? When it's part of their library. You know, you go on Amazon, you're scrolling through, you're looking for something to watch, and you find something, oh, this one's free. How much do you think the filmmaker gets from that?
$1 per view. No.
$1 per view. 1 penny per hour viewed.
Whoa.
Wow.
1 penny per hour viewed. So this is my cautionary tale. We all have things that we do to earn money, to make a living, to be esoteric, to be responsible adults in society, to make the world a better place through art or communication or laughter or whatever it is. But we also have a responsibility to ourselves to make sure that what we're doing is going to allow us to achieve our goals, whatever they may be. So my point is yeah, Cynda, you have all this education in the arts. My wife graduated from college when she was 17 with 2 degrees in the movie making business. And the end result of all of that is we spent a lot of our hard-earned money. And in order for us to make that money back, it's going to be very difficult because of the way all of these platforms they've continually taken the payment down, down, down. And it's like that across virtually all industries. So as I'm talking to folks, everybody who's listening out here, it's really important that if you're going to spend the money for higher education, which by the way, do it, you're investing in yourselves, but invest in yourself in a way that allows you to acquire an education or experience that's going to be valued by society. Because at that point, then you can make your future better. And that's really what it's all about. A lot of us have our futures in doubt because of what's going on. I'm guessing it's break time.
No, he was saying that was his agreeing with you, like.
Oh, he agreed with me. Okay, thanks, DJ. I appreciate that.
Boom, right there with you.
Yeah. So when you're counseling young people, when you're counseling family members, when you're thinking about what to do for yourself, the question is, am I going to spend $25,000 or whatever it costs a year to go to college? And am I going to study something that's going to be obsolete in 5 or 10 years? Or is it going to be something that I can continue to do and evolve with for the rest of my life that I want to do, that I want to, that I can actually enjoy? We have friends in the family, 2 of their kids are in college right now. They're studying musical theater. You know what that means? They're getting a degree in waitressing, in bartending. That's what it means. Because those things really aren't that valued. So we have to look at those things objectively.
I'm going to have to push back on that because I'm a theater major and I understand what you're saying. I had to wait. I didn't wait tables. I was a hostess for a couple of years. But I think that college is a very expensive social experiment also.
It is.
That is also a place where kids go to find themselves and who they are. And so they can make a decision about what they're going to do. And if their mindset is all on how I'm gonna make that money, how I'm gonna make that dollar, they might go into doing something that's gonna make them a dollar, but it doesn't help them to become who they need to be on the inside, spiritually, on a lot of different levels. And my daughter's at AMDA right now, American Music and Dramatic Arts in New York City, and becoming a full, yeah, she's becoming a full grown human being. And she is already thinking about and figuring out where she's going to go and where she's going to fit, so that in this type of world we're living in now, that she is going to make her money, so she's being very rational. Back in the day, I wish I had either been a psychology major or a business major along with my drama, because I didn't know crap about business, and psychology helps you understand people more. So I ended up getting, some more education when it comes to that. But I think you're right that an artistic major alone is not enough expertise to make a living and live comfortably while you create your art in this world. I agree with that.
Yeah,
I have to say, I tell students that all the time when they're saying they're going to go to school for broadcasting. I said, you need more than that. You need that thing that's going to get you in the door. Now, you can go to broadcasting, but if you take marketing, that'll get you in the door at this place, and then work your way up to being on air, do something that's going to get you in the door, that you have a kind of skill to get you in the door. Because, these jobs, these broadcasting entertainment jobs come a dime a dozen. Everybody's trying to get it. But what can you do to set yourself apart from the other one? By having some type of skill that if you can bring them money, if you can bring whatever entity you're working with money, meaning you can do sales, you can do marketing, you can bring in people, promotions. If you can bring all of that in, then you're a commodity, and then they may start to see your worth as a on-air person or a talent or something like that. So get your foot in the door, and that's how I did it, through the other side.
Right. Yeah. So college, like Cynda said, college is something that people really need to do. It opens up people's eyes to to different people, different cultures, different ways of thinking. Socially, esoterically, it's a huge benefit to folks. But when considering college, a lot of times parents are involved, and it costs parents, and parents want to make sure that their dollars are being placed in a way that's going to help their children lead a really great and productive life. So college isn't necessarily right for everybody. I mean, there's things like trade schools. The world needs electricians and pipe fitters and welders and all that kind of stuff. The most important thing is to give consideration to what that degree is going to bring you in the end. What is it that you want? And, and if you have your parents paying for it, or aunts, uncles, grandparents, whatever, I mean, they should get a vote because it's their money. And you should look at those things and talk about them and make sure that you're doing exactly what it's going to do in something that you can see yourself doing. I mean, obviously, you don't want to do something that you hate. Cynda went into theatricals, and it was the best possible place for her. But when you're really good at theater, you'd probably also be a really awesome attorney. So there's stuff that goes along with that. And so DJ, that's really the gist of it. The marketplace dictates what certain jobs pay and what they don't. And right now we're looking at a marketplace that's very much in flux. The arts have got us through this pandemic. People are watching more TV than ever. But the really sad juxtaposition of that statement is that people in the arts, especially trying to break in and do good quality work, they're not getting paid for it. So yeah, it's a conundrum we all have to face. I would imagine that once minimum wage goes up, there's going to be a slow trickle upward of other types of positions as well. But we don't want to be disparaging those who are making the least amount of money, because those are the ones who are having the hardest time of it.
Yeah, this is such a good conversation and necessary at this time. I know that, in my time spending as a substitute teacher, I have been in on a lot of conversations in high schools with people trying to help kids get to the next level. And one of the things that they have them do is go online and look up what industries are growing, what industries are moving forward and are going to be a part of a way to make a living in the next 20 years. Because and much, what's it called, the machines that do all the work, all this kind of stuff,
Artificial intelligence.
yeah, all of that is taking over a lot of our jobs. So the things that we used to be able to depend on, or even as a side hustle, are going away. And so it's great to have forethought about your decisions and go in and study and see what's out there and see how your personality and your skill set and what you love can fit into that world. And then you cover yourself, like Shelly said, you're doing what you love, but you are also a commodity in the industries that are burgeoning, not the ones that are dying.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, because that's a really important point that you raised, Cynda. We have a changing economy. The world has a changing economy, but especially the United States, because several decades ago, we gave up pretty much our manufacturing capability to countries that are able to do similar jobs for far less money. And the corporations in this country very, very much benefited from outsourcing manufacturing. Some of it's come back, but it's still a net negative in this country. So let's look at where the growth industries are. So like Cynda said, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Have you all heard of the Internet of Things? Do you even know have you heard of that?
No.
So right now, the internet is changing. Let's talk about the internet for a second. The internet, the first internet, if you could visualize, just conceptualize this, the first internet that went out and the internet that we're working with now, if you could imagine, is the size of my fist. They're working on internet version 2.0 because virtually everything in the world is going to be interconnected through the internet. Your refrigerator, your home, the heat, your car, even minor things are going to be interconnected. What does that require? It requires a lot more connectivity. So the current internet that we have right now, that's virtually, if you can visualize, the size of my fist, is going to be replaced with Internet v 2.0. Do you know how big the size of Internet v 2.0 is going to be, ladies?
No.
How big?
I have no. Maybe a marble.
How big?
A marble?
A marble? No.
Wrong direction.
What do you think, Shell? Yeah, wrong direction.
Internet 2.0 is going to be, you said wrong direction for the marble, so how about we say a rock?
The size of a rock. Internet version 2.0 will be the size of the Earth.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
Wow.
We will never run out of internet addresses. And with everything being connected, there are industries and there are jobs that are going to be absolutely multiplying because of that, right? Robotics. I'm sure you've all seen the videos of actual robots doing backflips and landing on their feet, doing a perfect 10. Have you seen those? Yeah. Robotics. Things are being automated. Robotics are huge. Within 20 years, every person in this country is going to be looking at having a robot valet. It can basically be your robotic butler in your home that you can purchase.
I'd like that. Can I buy that?
It's already happening. But who's going to repair those things?
Right.
In the old days, one of the biggest industries used to be the travel industry. How many people were travel agents back in the day, 20 years ago? How many are today?
They don't have to be.
They don't have to be because it's all automated. It's on the internet. But the apps that run travel services, that all of that, those are new jobs that didn't exist 20 years ago. So that's why it's very important to look at what's going on now and figure out where the future is going to be. Do you want to get into the travel industry right now, which is it's a dead industry, or do you want to get into robotics, or do you want to get into the Internet of Things, or do you want to be programming apps, or any of those types of things? Because the economy is changing to a information and technology driven sector, and it's going away from things like industry and travel agent. Just, I mean, the list goes on and on and on if you think about it. So that's what you want to look at.
All right. Well, on that note, which was terrifying for me,
Mhm.
because I don't give a crap about none of that.
But you know what? Yeah, because we would be lost. I mean, I know I would be lost. This technology,
Yeah, it's way over my head. And
it's like this
anyway,
right here is not working. This, even if, you know, you try to have this whole Zoom stuff, sometimes it just doesn't work. But I guess that's why there's a high demand for that.
Right.
I
So I hope everybody takes what I said to heart, because it is really, really important. You're making an investment in your future. And in doing so, you don't want to invest in something that's going to go belly up. It's like, would you put your money in Sears stock right now?
Mm-mm.
Sure, I would. No,
No, you wouldn't. You talk to me first and I wouldn't let you.
Okay, well, on that note, we're gonna move on, because now we gotta lighten it up, because I need to laugh after that. We're gonna move on to no. We need the cold hard truth. We need the truth. So thank you for that. But now we're gonna lighten it up, and this is also the truth. Girls and guys have crushes, and why do we do this? Why do we do this? And instead of dealing with just the conversations about our relationships or whatever. And our friend that's joining us after the break, her name is Charisse Davis. She makes the most beautiful music, singer songwriter, gorgeous woman, beautiful in all ways it seems, and she does romantic music. And so she's gonna join the conversation, tell her story, and then we're gonna get into that theme, y'all, after the break.
It's the PPC Radio Show, hosted by Cynda Williams and co-hosted by Shelly Williams. Music by All Night Long. DJ Joe Storm on the Grown Folks Radio. Yo. Grown Folks Radio. WGFB-FM Radio.
So are you ready? Yeah.
How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For the health and safety of our guests and team members, we're here for you. That means...
All right, we are live still on Facebook. Should I let Charisse in? Should we ready?
Sure. Or are we gonna do the intro first?
I thought you were introducing a prior to.
Perfect. You do that. I'm gonna get on. Malik is having issues, so I'm gonna get with that.
He says he's here. I mean, he's here. It says Malik right here.
Okay, I'll tell him that, because I think he's having an issue. I'll talk to him.
Did you want me to admit him or no? Just
no, not until after the next break.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Welcome back. Go ahead, sing your song, Cynda. I remember when she sang that. Welcome back. We are live on Facebook. Yeah, and we're just on the break for grownfolksradio.com. So we are still here on Facebook though, Did you listen in, Charisse?
No, I couldn't hear the audio.
You couldn't hear it?
No, I couldn't hear it.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it. I wanted to, I just couldn't hear it. But I hear you now.
You hear me now?
I hear you now.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Yeah. I think technology is just not being friendly today. It's just not being it's acting up. It needs to be on punishment or something, because it's just acting up.
I know what you mean. I mean, thank God you know how to do all this stuff. Because I don't.
I wish I could do more, because I'm it's really acting up. But DJ Kid Disco, he's behind the scenes helping push some buttons to make it all work. But it is literally acting up today. Yeah.
Oh, no. But I just want to say, before anything starts, I'm just, thank you for inviting me on your show. I really appreciate it.
Oh, we appreciate you being here. Cynda is she's over there trying to make sure all our guests are coming in. Like I said, technology is just not working for us today.
Hey, it happens.
But we are live.
Live is.
We are live on Facebook, and
Yeah, I talked to him. He thought that he was having a problem because you didn't let him in, and I had to remind him that he don't come on until later. So,
but he's gonna come back, right? Because he just
did he hang up? Yeah, yeah. He's gonna get home. He was driving, and I said, "Go on and get home and call him."
WGFB-FM radio.
So are you ready? Yeah.
How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365.
Yo, what's good? This is Tracy Lee, and you already know I gets down with the get down, man. Grown Folks Radio all day.
Hi, everybody. This is Cynda Williams, and I am the co-host of the Melanated Morning Show and the host of the PPC Radio Show. And you are listening to Grown Folks Radio.
It's the PPC Radio Show. Hosted by Cynda Williams and co-hosted by Shelly Williams. Music by All Night Long. DJ Joe Storm on the Grown Folks Radio. Yo.
Hi, we are back, everyone, and thank you so much for back. Very excited to have Charisse Davis with us. Welcome to the PPC Radio Show, Charisse.
So much. Thanks for having me, Cynda and Shelly. Thank you. Yay!
Well, Charisse and I have been social media friends on Instagram for quite some time. So I'm not really big on watching people's stuff, to be honest with you, because I use social media for my platforms. That's pretty much all I do. But every once in a while, somebody will pop up on my notifications that calls me to them, and you are one of those people. Charisse has a gorgeous voice, and later on in the mix, so I know Joe is going to be bringing us your song along with his mix, and so I'm very excited to hear your song. But I learned about you that you are from a family of entertainers, and so why don't you tell the PPC Radio Show, those that didn't get a chance to listen to the podcast, all about yourself?
Sure. Yeah. Well, like you said, I come from a musical family. My mom especially, I mean, she was the catalyst of me becoming what I am today. She has been on Broadway. She's done tons of jingles. She has sung with everybody on the planet. She's one of those all-around entertainer kind of people. And she used to bring me to her recording sessions. She used to bring me backstage when she was performing on Broadway. And she got me my first jingle when I was young. So that's what started me. My mom started me on the road to the entertainment industry. And, you know, like I've told people, this is not something that I do. It's who I am. You know, music is who I am. And I always use the crazy phrase, cows give milk. I give music. And that's what I do. I just give music.
Well, you know, I think you missed some of the conversation that we were having with Craig before the break. We were talking about how, you know, people have to reconsider now how they're going to make a living in today's society because so many things have gone by, especially it seems for artists.
Yes.
For artists. So how do you manage to still make a living doing the things you love, which is make music?
Well, you know, in this day and age, it's really difficult. I mean, I'm among everybody else that's kind of struggling. There are only a couple of people who are artists that I know that are working. You know, the majority of us are just kind of trying to be more creative to figure out how we're going to keep earning a living. So, you know, right now during this time, it's really, really difficult, but hopefully because we're in 2021, things will start to get back to normal. So I'm in the same boat as everybody else is. You know, I'm just trying to make a way to trying to figure out what other kind of avenues can I, you know, search to try and, you know, maintain. So that's where I am right now.
Can I ask a question?
No. Just kidding. Of course you can.
No question. Un poquito. So this is something that a lot of artists are dealing with right now. And that is the whole, will you work for free? I can get you great exposure. I can get you this. I can get you that. Artists of all types are experiencing the fact that their work is being degraded or devalued. Might be, maybe not degraded, but certainly devalued given the situation that we have with technology, where everybody expects everything for free. How do you approach that when people ask you, I can pay you a couple $100 to write me a jingle? Do you have ways of letting people down easy? Or after a year of the pandemic, are you starting to get a little bit more forceful with how you handle these situations? Just for everybody out there, it'd be nice to know how you're dealing with it.
Yeah, that's kind of tough, because it's not like I'm getting a lot of offers to write per se jingles. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm the singer that sings on the jingles. I would love to write for some jingles. So that's kind of hard to answer. I'm not the writer of jingles. I've always been the one that's been asked to come in and do the jingle as a singer. But I guess to answer your question, it depends, because if you're in this pandemic, you're struggling, and someone wants you to do something for free, you kind of have to sometimes let them down easy. It's like, well, hey, I'm trying to earn a living just like you, and my time is just as valuable, as yours. There can be a barter situation. I wouldn't be opposed to doing a barter, but to just do something for free, writing something takes a lot of time, and work and energy. So, you have to be compensated for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and there's always going to be people in your circle that are worthy of doing something gratis, of course.
Yep. Yeah.
Doing something to somebody, for somebody who you value as a friend or as a colleague.
Yes.
All
Yes.
that kind of stuff. But at the same time, there's an old saying in the entertainment business, or especially in Hollywood, it's the only place that you can die of encouragement. It's very difficult to pay the bills by being encouraged. Keep doing what you're doing. It's great. We're not
right.
But you're awesome. So yeah, that's the thing. We have to, where is the fine line of creating art, which we all need to do. I'm in the same boat. I'm an artist as well, but I'm also a business person because of the things we talked about before. I want to have the ability to take care of my family and keep a roof over my head and things like that. Mm-hmm. But the whole idea that art is being devalued is something that we all need to overcome. So any insights into any of that for listeners would be a great, great thing. I think the first thing is like what you said. Yes, I hear what you're saying, but I need to eat too, and I need to be paid.
Well, what are some of the things that you were able to do, that you're doing to pivot and, really get out there and continue to make money? Because I'm sure you created some things, because you seem very, very, very creative. So what are some things that you created to actually continue to make money?
Was that me? Directed to me? There are just a couple of things. I was able to, fortunately, I didn't have to come up with something original. I was asked to have a couple of my songs used in different genres, for different, I forgot what it's called, a web TV show series? Web series, things like that. So I was fortunate. I already had the material. And when I was asked, do you have anything that, could work for XYZ? I already had it, so far yet, I haven't been asked to come up with something original for something like that to produce. But yeah, I used my own songs that are already done.
I think one of the, and then after, I think we need to move on to the subject, but one of the things that I think we're going to have to do is artists are going to have to start putting on their business hats, like Craig suggested, and have our own streaming companies, artists run by artists, and that are willing to share in profits, because that's the problem. It's like Netflix, Prime, any number of streaming. They're banking. They are making money. It's not like they can't afford to give you more than a penny an hour. They're choosing not to, because all they care about is the bottom dollar for themselves, and they're the people that are making money from their platform. They don't give a crap about the artists. So artists need to think bigger than just creating the art. We have to create the platform to stream our art, and then be conscious enough to share with each other. I mean, that for me, that's this whole PPC thing. I mean, I know stars. I've worked with stars and all of that kind of stuff. Big people know them. And eventually, when I get my numbers to where I want them to be, I might invite one or two here and there. But I prefer my platform to be with people like you, who are working and doing your thing, artists that are trying to get their stuff out there and trying to be heard and seen, as opposed to somebody we already see every day. I love them. I respect them. But yes, it might make my numbers build quicker to have Halle Berry come hang out. And maybe one day I will. But my goal is to give a platform to people that are up and coming, that have been working their tail off for years and have not had that break.
Yeah, that is so generous of you, because, you know, I've noticed in the business, a lot of women don't help other women.
Right.
You know, and for you to even say that, I mean, it just shows who you are as a person, you know, that you want to help people who aren't being seen, who haven't been heard, you know, because like you said, I mean, you can invite anybody you want on your show, you know, but yeah, that's one thing about, well, Hollywood. I'm not really involved in Hollywood, but the entertainment business as it is, a lot of women do not want to help other women.
You know what's really interesting is that if women banded together and supported each other, you guys would rule the world.
Oh,
yes, we would.
Yes.
Absolutely.
But I talk about this with my wife a lot, that a lot of women are socialized to be antagonistic toward other successful women. Mm-hmm. It's so counterproductive, because I feel I was very sad when Elizabeth Warren dropped out of the presidential race. I was very sad when Hillary Clinton didn't get elected. It's time for women to be in positions of power. Men have been screwing it up way long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think nowadays there is a lot of women's groups that are popping up, and I mean we
need more.
But they're happening now. I think it is changing. I think we're in a season of change. I think we're in a season of change, and women are doing it, which is why Cynda's doing it. I believe in the same thing Cynda believes in. I want to highlight the people that you can relate to, and you can reach out and touch them. But I think they're popping up everywhere. People are supporting people. Women are supporting women, and it's going to continue to happen. And they're going to see the benefits of it. They're going to see the benefits. Your numbers are going to grow. The numbers are going to grow. It is. You keep doing something consistently. You keep pushing it. It's going to grow. You don't need A, B, C, D, or Halle Berry to make your numbers grow. Just Cynda Williams.
And I love Halle Berry, so no disrespect to her. And eventually, maybe she'll come on to the show. I played her sister twice. She feels like a sister to me. So
Yes.
I love her. It's not putting down those that have worked hard and succeeded on a certain level. It's saying that Charisse is just as valid. She is just as valid as Halle and any other person out there that's doing their thing. And not only entertainers, but people from every walk of life. I hope you're listening in, Malik, because it looks like we're changing the subject a little bit. And that
let's see. We're getting into you singing when you say the topic, my crush. What song comes to mind?
Oh, which one? I don't know. There's a few on my crush.
No, what comes to mind first?
Jets? The Jets?
Yes, that's it.
Yes.
I got a crush
on you, yes. I used to love them.
Me too. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I heard my crush. I was like, I got a crush on you.
I was thinking of the song from the Black Eyed Peas. It wasn't a Black Eyed Peas song. It was the girl in the group. Her song about a crush. I can't remember her name right now. I'm totally blocking it. but she had this song came out on her single, on her own album, that was about a crush that just I listened to over and over again at one point because I was going through some stuff. I was having
it was speaking to your heart.
it was speaking it was well, I don't know if it was my heart or another part of my anatomy, but it was speaking seriously. It was, sometimes, I think in a crush, depending on the crush, it sometimes can be a confusion with lust versus love. You know what I mean?
Do you still have crushes at our age?
Yes. Absolutely.
Shall I proceed? Yes, indeed.
Yeah, you can't play more than that.
Shall I proceed? Yes. Oh yeah. I like that one too. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So Charisse, you write songs about romantic topics. You enjoy that. And you wrote this song called I Fall. Before we go to break and bring Malik in, tell us a little bit about how you came up with the song, for those that didn't listen to the podcast, how that song came about.
This song came about because a very dear friend of the family who I had a huge crush on when I was very, very young. We grew up together. He was my brother's friend. My brother was older. I loved older men. Long story short, when we became adults, he revealed to me that he had always had feelings for me. And I was a kid, and a teenager, and then early 20s. And I had this huge crush on him. It must be 10, 15 years I had this crush. But we were so much like brother and sister, and nothing ever came of it. So when he finally revealed that he had feelings for me years before, for some reason, I just came up with these lyrics, oh, I fall every time I look at you. And it was like from his perspective, in a way, it's like this person's been in front of me, or even my perspective, this person's been in front of me all these years. I didn't even realize it. And now every time I look at this person, I fall deeper and deeper and deeper. And you were standing right in front of me. So that's where the concept came from. A little crush when I was a little girl. And as I matured and found out this, I guess, revelation, that's where the song came from. I Fall.
Oh,
yeah. I go on, Shelly Shell.
No. Go ahead. Go. I know we're gonna talk about our falls. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. I think we can talk about that even more. I definitely had. I had like entertainment crushes when I was a kid. I loved. This is my first crush was Bruce Lee. And then there was, yes, I was 5. Then it was
like Jim Kelly.
And then it was Gene Wilder. Gene Wilder was okay. We're talking now, man. You gonna join us after the top of the hour. Gene Wilder was my guy.
You had some very interesting crushes. I'm sorry.
Who my crush was when I was,
because I did not care about the way they looked. I cared about the way they made me laugh.
Yeah.
Right. Not Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee was fine to me. I love me some Bruce Lee.
Yes.
But Gene Wilder and Eddie Murphy and all those guys and Richard Pryor, I had a crush on them because they made me laugh. I any man that can make me laugh is already, inches closer to me because of that. And then I had some crushes on some people I knew too. Shelly, you had some crushes?
Oh, I have plenty of crushes, but I don't think I had any crushes on celebrities. The only one I liked a little bit was Taymac Tate. I think that's how you say it, Taymac from The Last Dragon.
Yes.
I thought he was the best. But growing up, my mom had a boyfriend and he had a son. And I loved his son. He was older than me, but he was just had these beautiful green eyes. And oh my goodness, I was so in love with him. So after you know, I didn't see him anymore. I had to date anybody that had green eyes. That was my thing. They had to look like him. He had to be light skinned with green eyes. And I went, that's all I dated. I had to go after it. Not that they were the best for me, but
they rarely are.
They had to look like this. It was a thing because I was trying to duplicate this older man that, you know, that was my mother's son. But I just would look like, oh my gosh, he's here. He wasn't caring about me, you little kid, you know. But his eyes just kind of like, talk to me. Woo! So that was my crush as a kid. Really. I want to know where he is now. I want to know what he look like now.
Right? I just told my wife who my childhood crush was. And she laughed her ass.
Who was it?
Julie Andrews.
Oh. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that.
But we're talking about the young Julie Andrews.
The young Julie Andrews. When she was in Mary Poppins and Sound of Music, I was just like, my little 5-year-old heart was going pitter pat. I was like, oh.
Well, you know, it's ironic because when I was 5, I had a crush on Dick Van Dyke.
There you go. See?
Wow.
She doesn't get that music. She doesn't get that music. Come on. DJ, come on.
I knew I was going to marry Dick Van Dyke.
She's a guest. She's not family, so he been nice to her.
But you know what?
No, he's family.
Van Dyke. I like that one because, you know, Cynda's talking about funny. Dick Van Dyke was hilarious. Like he had this. Oh my gosh, I see that one. I see that because he was really, really funny. He was.
Yes, and talented. You know, he can dance, sing, act. You know.
He could not do a British accent though. Watch Mary Poppins.
It was terrible.
That's true.
I probably would have had a in life crush on him if I'd known him if I was older, because those kind of people that can do it all, those kind of guys, woo wee.
Yeah, ooh, wee.
They do something. They do something. They do something for me.
Woman, 1978.
Oh, Wonder Woman, 1978. Okay.
Linda Carter.
I can see that.
Linda Carter?
Mm-hmm. I can see that.
Oh.
But then there was another Carter. Tell you my range. Nell Carter.
All right. That was your range. That's range.
That's range.
That's
Give
range.
me a rank, I should deserve it. Time to make it good time.
Oh, I remember that.
And on that note, let's go to break so we can bring in Malik Truth, the author of The Dating Purpose, who is amazing. And we can't wait to hear his ideas. And from a therapeutic point of view, why do we have crushes? I can't wait to hear what he has to say after the break.
It's the PPC Radio Show, hosted by Cynda Williams and co-hosted by Shelly Williams. Music by All Night Long. DJ Joe Storm on the Grown Folks Radio. Yo. Grown Folks Radio. WGFB-FM Radio.
So are you ready? Yeah.
How it used to be. Something for everyone. 24/7, 365.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
All right, we are here. I see Cynda Williams' name up there. I was like, I thought you were coming in again. I was like,
I saw it too.
It confused me because I was like, Cynda Williams,
That's weird.
Here again, you're coming again.
That's weird. I had to turn off my phone. It's dying, so I don't know maybe I pressed a button or something. Who knows? Yeah.
Hey, what's good, y'all? Can you hear me?
Hey, man, how are you?
What's good, big sis?
So you okay? Your emergency taken care of?
Yeah, you know how that go. Work, man, work.
Yeah. Well, thanks for making your way to a place. So is that where you're gonna settle?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to settle in the car.
Okay, been there, done that.
Yeah. Can you? Is there any extraneous noise you guys can hear? I'm good.
You sound good to me. Sounds
okay,
good.
All right,
okay.
good.
Okay, cool. I'm not used to seeing you in this kind of relaxed, retire, and without your hat on and
Well, my hair, hey, you know, I cut my hair, so you know, I cut my hair.
It looks
bald.
good. I like it.
So thank you. So you know, had to change up the whole style for my radio show too. So which is tonight. But I'm so happy to be back on with you guys again, man. I have so much fun when I'm on with you guys, especially when Shelly Shell is on the microphone, rocking until the break of dawn.
All right. So
you guys were covering so many topics, man. I was like, wow, they just like, wow, y'all covered so much.
Circle. It went everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we have a theme, you know, that we try to get to, but I think when things are flowing, you just let them flow. You know?
No, yeah, you just let them flow. Absolutely, absolutely. I like the part where you guys were talking about relevance and working for free as opposed to, you know. Yeah, I guess like a lot of people like to try to take advantage of others, you know, in this type of climate, you know. Yeah, that's crazy. But my thing is, you look, even at the scale I'm at, we gonna either barter or you gonna pay me.
Yeah, I've done so many things for free. I can't even tell you. I have worked for nothing. I have worked for such low prices. And for my friends, if it's good, I'll do about anything. But I've had to.
If I know you.
Yes, I've had to say no, though. I've had to start saying no. And it feels good. It feels good to say no.
Does.
I mean, I'm a yes person, but it feels good to value myself enough to say no. If you can't pay, I can't do it.
That's right. I want to be able to put shrimp, you know, in my top ramen too.
You just come up with a rate sheet when somebody says something. Oh, okay, you want me to do this? Let me get your email address and send you my rate sheet.
Exactly.
And that's the best way to do it. I had to teach some people. I had to teach some of my people to say, this is what you do when you don't, because I'm a yes person as well. But so instead of saying, yo, it costs this much, I say, oh, good. Sure, not a problem. Give me your email address and I'm going to send you my rate sheet and you decide what you want to do from there. Okay.
There you go. I'm a hell no, however person.
And I've had to say, you know, I know people, there are a lot of people that are trying to do things that are independents, that it's a, you know, super low budget, and they don't want to just say, well, everybody else is working on spec, can you too? They always say, I want to be able to. I mean, there are so many people that haven't even asked me to work because they assume they can't afford it. All right. All right, we are back with the PPC Radio Show. Thank you if you're just joining us. We have been talking about so many awesome things. We had Craig Engel, aka CJ Julianis, our financial guru, giving us the lowdown on how we have to prepare for the hard times and how we got to consider, especially for our children, what kind of jobs we're going to give them or encourage them to do so they can make a living. We also have Shelly Shell, our co-host, who is awesome as usual and always keeping it real. We have Charisse Davis, our guest. If you're just joining us, Charisse is this phenomenal singer-songwriter who I plan on hiring, and so we're going to have some conversations on that. And yeah. We have DJ Kid Disco in the background, the random black guy that's running things.
Random black guy.
Random black guy. And now we are introducing
random. You're all black. I'm the random. I'm the random.
Yeah.
Well,
he's KC in this whole Sunshine Band.
Right. And now we got Malik Truth, who if you haven't met him before, he's a wonderful radio personality. He's got his own show that later on in the show he's going to tell us about, and so we can all support him. He's also an author of The Dating Purpose, and someone, I read his book, and one of the few books that someone has sent me that I was like, oh wow, this is really good, and this has made a difference for me. And so I wanted him to join this conversation. We talked about more than a crush. We ended on crushes, and I'd like your perspective, Malik, where that comes from, why we go through that. I have my ideas, but I want to hear yours.
Well, I tell you what, before I go into that, can I go into who I had a crush on back when I was
Yes, please.
Let me tell you, look, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with DJ Kid Disco. I also had a crush on Linda Carter, Wonder Woman. I had a crush on her when I was a kid. But again, it's all because of certain images that was put before us. But I tell you, Irene Cara, oh my God. I had such a crush on Irene Cara and Nell Carter too. Nell Carter too. Just that big fluffiness is just beautiful woman. Beautiful woman.
Did you say Nell Carter or Mel Carter? Because I thought it was
Nell Carter.
First, I was
Nell Carter. Nell Carter. I didn't have those man crushes when I was a kid.
Gotcha.
Right.
I was all man when I was a kid, but and still all man now. But yeah, I used to really have a big crush on Nell Carter again because of her fluff. I just started liking bodacious women back when I was a teenager, and Cynda, I had a crush on you too after Mo Better Blues.
Oh, we all have a crush on Cynda. Come on.
Damn, Cynda, after Mo Better Blues, Clark Bentoncourt. I had such a crush on Clark Bentoncourt. She was the bomb. She was the bomb. Yes. And then what we have to understand is that crushes are deeply rooted in our fantasies. And that's really what they are, because anyone who you ask to detail what their crush is or was, they're going to tell you this fantasy that's in their mind. What you like to do with them, where you see yourself with them. Some see themselves married to a particular person. Some see themselves going out to dinner with a particular person, holding hands and walking in the park with that particular person. And Cynda, let me tell you, I love your narratives. Your narratives are off the hook, because when I listened to the PPC podcast that you did, that short interview with what's the singer's guest today? What's her name?
Charisse.
I'm sorry, Charisse. When you did that with Charisse, you did a short introduction, and you talked about how you had a crush on an individual, but it wasn't reciprocated. And the reason why a lot of times these crushes aren't reciprocated, because it's our fantasy, and we can't really expect someone else to align with our fantasy because it's ours. And when they don't love us like our fantasy was telling us they should love us, that's when we need to begin to check ourselves, and that's when the fantasy can become something else. But those little innocent crushes, that we have, they fade over time. They really can. They really do fade over time. Even if we're an adult and we have a crush on another adult, that crush will fade over time. But we have to check it and watch it, because there are certain boundaries that we have to set within ourselves when we understand that, hey, this is just a crush and this is just a fantasy. And what I have in my mindset may not be the same thing or may not be their reality. And those are the things we just have to be careful with crushes.
Do you think
but they are a fun and cute thing to have, though.
Do you think that Cynda's kind of stalker person has a kind of a weird kind of crush on Cynda right now?
Hell no, that ain't no crush. If you stalking somebody, that becomes obsession. That becomes obsession, not even infatuation, because of infatuation stems from the actual crush, but obsession stems from a deep-rooted fantasy that you have now created to become such a reality that you begin to start acting it out. That's where it becomes dangerous, possibly goes on, is part of the DSM.
So it's the dark side of having a crush.
It is. I would say that. I like that. That is the Darth Vader of crushes. An infatuation or a crush is Luke Skywalker. Obsession is Darth Vader.
For me, the whole for me at least, crushes for me were the way that I started figuring out what I wanted in a man.
I like that.
And it's not necessarily the person that I had the crush on, it was the idea of them. It was the things in them that drew me in and that made me feel a spark that I recognize as what I want in a man. This may not be the man that I want, but I love this part of this man, his humor. I love this part of this man, the fact that he cares about my needs. I love this part about this man. He adores his mother, so that gives me an idea about how he might be to women. And so I found that in my crushes, it was something about them that I was growing my list, you know what I mean?
Right.
And that list being a list that I could reciprocate. Rarely was my list or my crushes had anything to do with how much money they had. I didn't give a crap about that, even though a lot of my crushes did. I mean, and I love money just as love. Money is good. It's a gift from God, but that's not what drew me into these different people in my life. There were these other things. So all I found like I was doing was creating a picture of what I ultimately needed. My problem was I rushed into relationships usually for reasons beyond love and companionship. I married too many times just because it was the right thing to do, the Christian thing to do, or whatever, and and rarely did they have anything on that list. You know what I mean? And it was when I stopped settling and actually started seeking someone that was all those beautiful qualities that I had witnessed and from men from my father on, that I developed my tastes and what I like in a man.
And that's good. I mean, because that kind of piggybacks off of what Shelly was talking about, where she couldn't have that dude, well, she gonna have the next dude with green eyes. And I think when you're just using certain examples and certain models as just maybe just a route or tool to build your list of what you're looking for, it's not really a crush at that point, because a crush is really a fixation on that person. And what everything your fantasy is telling you about that person, so
especially I'm sorry, just gonna say, especially if
no,
you have
that's
a crush,
okay, Charisse.
if you, like Cynda was saying, she had a lot of crushes on different celebrities, comedians. You don't really know who they are, so it really is, like you said, a fantasy, because you're fantasizing about a person you don't even know.
Right.
No,
and usually the crush is the fixation of a crush. Usually comes from a deep rooted fantasy about a person. And that fantasy is what drives you to want to be around that person. Let's just say a lot of little girls have crushes on their brother's friends. There are times, and then they do whatever. They'll if they know that their brother's friend is coming over, they'll make every effort to be in front of them, or to be doing something where they can be noticed or seen. And part of that fantasy is the attention that they can receive from their fixation. And again, a crush is a healthy thing. We all go through it. It's part of our development. When we're children, though, we don't have that knack to put the boundaries there. As we grow older in our development and become adults, you would hope that we develop the ability and the sense enough to actually build those boundaries where we know that, hey, I know I might not ever have Cynda a day in my life, but you know what? I'm happy to just be able to just be speaking with her, to be engaging with her, and to just be just serving the public with her.
Well,
and that's where the boundaries come in.
This goes to what Charisse said, and I think, and you said also, people have an image of who they think you are, especially celebrities. People have a vision of who they think you are based on characters that you've played. And I have said multiple times, when people get to actually know me, they are so frustrated because I am not any character I've ever played.
Right.
There's elements of me in there, but the parts that they're drawn to ain't me.
Right.
So if your crush on me is based on my looks, okay, I kind of look the same, even though I've grown into my womanhood. If your crush on me is about me being a freak, I don't know about all that. Okay, I'm a monogamous person, one on one.
Right.
And it depends on what your fantasy is. And I don't fault men for having that, because I have a lot of men that say, "Oh my God, I had a crush on you," and I am cool with that, just as long as it doesn't seep into the Darth Vader part, which
exactly.
When you rather date, isn't it hard dating someone that has had a crush on you? Being on TV and everything, you finally date that person that had a crush on you. It's not real. It's almost like they're walking around like, here's my prize. I got my prize right here, and I would rather not date someone who knows me. And I always look for that. I always look for somebody who didn't watch the show or didn't know this. I look for people who don't know, because they really are not. They're not looking for you. They're looking for the image. So I look around. I don't know how you can find someone that doesn't know you, Cynda, but I try to find people who maybe are not from Philadelphia, so that they don't know, because they don't really.
But you know what's funny? At the same time, because I've been through that. Like you said, it's hard to meet people that don't know me, especially men of color. If it was a white dude, then maybe that could happen. Although I have a lot of white male fans also. But then you get into this. You meet this guy, they don't know who you are, really. They've never seen your work. They don't know you that way. And then you find out the reason why they don't is because they're so self-absorbed that they can't look beyond their own face. So then you got that side of it too. The reason why they don't know you is because they don't really know anybody except for themselves, and their whole world is wrapped around themselves. So you get caught that way too. And I'm not saying if you don't know me, you're self-absorbed. I'm not saying, please, I am not that arrogant. But I am saying that you got to be careful with that too. You got to be careful with it.
Isn't that with all relationships though? I mean, that's true. That's part of the vetting process on whether or not you want to be with somebody. The question I've got is, what happens when you actually do? How do you wind up with your crush?
Well, you know what? Can I address that one right there? Yeah. We have one. Well, we have many, but we have one most recent one right before us. Beyonce's mom and Richard Lawson. She had a crush on him for years. You know what I'm saying? Even before she became Tina, the diva of the little baby diva. She had a crush on Richard Lawson for years from all of his movies. You know what I'm saying? And now she became the status that she became and divorced, who she divorced. And now she's with her crush.
How did that happen? How did she facilitate?
Hi. She just wants to say hi. Just so
sweetheart, how are you?
What's up? Well, man, she got money, man. What you think? She got money. She made it happen.
I was gonna ask her, do you have a crush? Did you ever have a crush?
Did you ever have a crush? Did you ever have a crush, Sophia? They asked. A crush? Yeah. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. She has had a crush.
Any celebrities?
And any celebrities? No. What about Andre? Young Andre 5,000. 3,000.
3,000. Young Andre 10,000. He's an adult now.
Young Andre. Okay, young Andre.
Andre 20,000.
So he was 5. No. But yeah, that's the only celebrity I've ever heard her say that she had a crush on. Ever in some of his movies and stuff like that, because she's just into that creative man.
Creative.
That's all right.
He's very creative.
But he is crazy creative right there.
Mm-hmm.
You seen that skit that Key and Peele did about him. It was crazy.
So let me ask you this. So based on that example you just gave of Beyonce's mom, Tina, and Mr. Lawson, sometimes is it not necessarily a crush, but is it something you're visualizing? And if it's meant to be, it will be. If it's God's will,
that's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. I mean, the fantasy of if you're looking at it from a religious perspective, or spiritual perspective of speaking those things that aren't as though they were. Yeah, you could do that. I mean, they're amazing, but you have to keep it in perspective. You know, there's God's plan and then there's our plan. And sometimes we confuse our plan with God's plan.
And then
So you
there's
have to really be careful.
What's that?
Then there's whose plan?
Then there's testosterone's plan.
Then there's testosterone, which is part of our plan. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? A lot of our fantasies, especially men, but women aren't exempt from this either, are growing driven.
You know what? I can speak on this because I have experienced that, where I have met men that were fans and that the testosterone was moving them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was single and looking and interested and got my feelings hurt because they didn't want Cynda or Cindy. They wanted Clark or whoever.
Wanted Clark Vindencourt. Yeah,
exactly. And when they think they had enough of her, then they were out because
they couldn't get that love scene out their head.
Exactly. And they couldn't get that love scene either. They couldn't get the love scene. When they realized that was never going to happen.
But you didn't movie crew into your bedroom, into your house to make that happen? Come on.
What?
We all know that's the sexiest thing ever when you have a movie crew when you're filming a love scene. It's like,
oh yeah, it's so sexy, except for that horrible scene. Now, by the way, that was the first scene we shot in that movie. It was the most mean thing to do to me.
Oh man,
no way.
Day for night. So it was actually day outside shooting it, so it looks like it's night. And there was a crew working on a building across the street, laughing and woo, 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 woo. There weren't no women on the scene, all men, up in my face, up in my crotch. My very first scene I've ever shot in my life in any movie
your life
was that. It was horrible.
Wow.
The men were all acting like they'd never seen a woman before in their whole lives.
They were leches. They were like, yeah, it was so
but
nasty.
let me tell you, Cynda, you remain professional because none of us who watched that scene would ever imagine that
you were uncomfortable.
Yeah. At all. So you are
actress.
Clearly a professional. You're an actress. You acted the hell out of that.
I did. It was all acting.
You acted so well. Everybody wants a piece of that whole scene. They like, yes.
That whole scene. Hey, look. Can we do it? Wesley Snipes, Clark Bencourt style tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I'm. If you're listening, let me tell you now, it was a fantasy, and it wasn't mine. I would never do that. Cindy would never do that. I would never put my ass out on a balcony for nobody. Okay? I wouldn't do it.
Well, maybe for my husband. You wouldn't do that for your husband?
Come on now, your husband. Come on now.
I don't know. My husband.
No, I am not. I am not an exhibitionist that way. You wouldn't know from the movies I've been in. I'm not
teasing you.
I know.
That's all right though.
That's
all right. But you know that's all about the crush. You know, these are things that develop crushes. You know, whether it's a sexualized crush, or whether it's a fantasy crush of family lifestyle, or just being around an individual. You know, something that we want to be able to fulfill what we see in our minds. And again, like I said, it could remain innocent, or it can morph into something really nasty.
You know, I'm glad you brought that. I'm glad you said that. How about how you can get a crush by being around somebody? What's really interesting is I've been married for 16 years, and I have a giant crush on my wife.
That's beautiful, man. You're gonna make the girls cry, man.
But what's interesting is I didn't have a crush on her when I met her, but she was around a lot. And my wife is an incredibly attractive, incredibly intelligent human being, and she's entirely deserving of crushes. But when I first met her, I was just like, that's a beautiful young woman. But when I started getting to know her, then that interest really started to peak. My thing is I knew that there was a lot, there was endorphins, there was testosterone, there was spirituality, there was all the right ingredients there. But the question really became with her, like what you were saying with, everybody was saying with crushes, we tend to have an idealized version of somebody where, like, the boyfriend wanted not Cynda, but the character she played.
Or wanted Clark.
Celebrity or whatever it was.
Right.
My wife, once we started getting to know each other, I think the biggest key for me was that I never put her on a pedestal. I never treated her like she was the other, like she was this porcelain doll or this porcelain goddess.
Right.
I treated her like a human being, which she never had. When she would date guys, they would all have crushes on her. So they'd be like, oh, I can't talk to you. You're too pretty. Or I'm intimidated. We know this, right? As men can do that.
No, that's true. Yeah, women too.
And that allowed me to get close, and that's a lesson for everybody in every relationship. Right. Women are.
CJ. Yes. CJ, how long you been married, man?
16 years.
16 years. And seeing you've experienced those ups and downs and those bad times and good times, and what happened is what you're experiencing now is that deep embedded appreciation of how you guys worked through those things that challenged you. And you began to love her even more. You begin to appreciate her even more. And it's very easy to have a crush on your spouse and be like, damn, I love the hell out of this woman.
Yeah, I've had a crush on her for, probably 15 and a half years now. And
beautiful. Hey, how do I get that? I want to achieve. I want that. I want somebody to say that. I want my husband to say 16 years later, I got a crush. I want him to say that the first day. We gotta get there.
So do I. Let me say this right now, because I know Charisse, I didn't announce this in the beginning, but I know you have a schedule. Are you going to say goodbye? Or are you going to stick around the last 15 minutes?
Yeah, I can stick around for the last 15 minutes.
Oh, God bless you. Thank you. Because I want to hear a little bit more from you. Everybody else been talking. What are your thoughts about what Malik Truth has been sharing? What are your thoughts based on your experiences?
Yeah, I agree with what he was saying. And also, I just wanted to touch on what CJ just said about still having a crush on his wife after 16 years. Because I've often said, if you're in a long-term relationship and it starts getting a little sour, or, you start getting bored of that person or whatever it is, they're starting to irritate you. I always thought, why don't you try and go back and remember what first attracted you, what that feeling of, excitement was. Try and still have dates, because I think so many times when you're in a relationship for a while, you kind of forget, wait a minute, we haven't gone on a date. We're so comfortable with each other now and so relaxed, and we know each other and we can, finish each other's sentences and what do you want to watch and all this. But you don't remember, wait a minute, why don't we have an actual date like a couple would? Because sometimes I think you kind of forget that you're a couple.
I can relate with that, because I've had quite a few relationships, but they've all been long term. When I haven't been single very long, right? I always am in a relationship, and it's a long relationship, and that is always a part of maintaining a relationship. Is, like you said, keeping the freshness in it, remembering what's special between you, what drew you in the first place, and focusing on that. One time in some of my studies for hypnotherapy and therapy, I was with my daughter's father. And I had never been happy. I got pregnant, I got married. That's basically how it was. He's a good man, a lot of good things about him, but I never really had a whole bunch I loved about him. So I was having a hard time. And what I learned was focus on what's good about them. And that's what you put your mind on. That is what you put your mind on, and they will become more of that because you're attracting that to you. But if you're focusing on the fact that you can't stand the way they chew their food, or you can't stand the way they pick their toes, or you can't stand,
for me,
if you can't stand, if you're focusing on and constantly thinking about the things that irritate you, those things will be magnified. But if you focus on the things that their strength, their smarts, their wisdom, their whatever, how they deal with other people, and then that is what's magnified to you. And then, like you said, Charisse, going out on a date, spending special moments together. Don't get so comfortable that you're not making love in the middle of the day if you have the time. Don't get that kind of comfortable, because then you both get bored and you forget who you are to each other. And that's what I learned.
I say, remember the times. Remember the times where y'all used to just be spontaneous and be like, pull over on the side of the road kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think as adults, we got to stop. We have to stop being so conservative when we get married and we become these 50-year-old, married couples. I guarantee you, your wife want to be pulled over on the side of the road and be like, all right, then let's do that.
Yeah, I don't mind the side of the road. I'm not gonna hang off a balcony, but the side of the road.
She said, the side of the road is cool, but the balcony,
cool.
Not so
the balcony.
Not the balcony. Shelly, what were you saying?
I was saying that you were saying that you get past the stuff you don't like, the chewing bad, the this and that. I don't understand how to get past it. I mean, I know what you're saying, focus on the other things, but I'm normally out after the irritation. I can't get past irritation. It just, I don't know how to bring
knew
it
he
back.
picked his toes before you said I do.
Right. That's the thing. You haven't said I do yet. See, don't say I do to the person that picks their toes.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Just don't. Because if they do it in the beginning and you try to look past it, it's never going away. Those things that you ignore, it's never going away. Those things you ignored because he did you good or whatever. He was good at whatever he did. Those are not going away, and they're going to be magnetized because now, instead of seeing it on Friday and Saturday nights, you're going to see it every single day.
And they're
exactly.
What did you say, Craig?
From picking their toes to picking their butt, and then we're
and that's going to happen. That's going to happen. That's why I say,
hold your hand with the same funky fingers.
That's why I said be real. You got to be real with whoever it is, and let them be free to be real with you, so you know who they are from the beginning. Because those that pretend like they don't fart, and then all of a sudden you say I do, and that night they stinking up the house, it's gonna be a problem. So
it's gonna be a problem. Exactly. And that's the discovery process in my book. I talk about that during the dating process. You have to discover these things and bring them to the forefront and talk about them.
Yes. I gave up when I started dating my wife. I gave up fried food. For precisely the reason Cynda just brought up. Because fried food will ruin
my gas.
Fried food will what?
Fried food give you gas.
Social skills.
Oh, okay.
I see. Oh, let's get you got a flatulence effect.
Yeah, because some people can't get with that.
Well, they can't get with that, then I can't get with them, because that flatulence is natural. It's better out than in. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna be sitting around like,
hey, for real, I ain't gonna be sitting around. Look, I dated a girl and we used to play the fart game.
That's right. Play that game.
And
like,
that's
I got
why
you this time, baby. Ooh, I'm gonna get you next time. Watch, I'm gonna get you
that
next time.
honesty is meaningful. And if you're not honest with each other from and once you notice somebody you want to get to know, and that discovery time, as you say, Malik, if you don't let them discover you and you wait till you're married, then you got problems.
Yeah, you got problems.
Because then all you have is that fake fantasy. And then you say,
come on, somebody.
You
come
changed.
on, somebody.
No, they didn't change. You just never met them. That's why.
Come on, somebody. You ain't never met that person.
That's why it's so important not to jump in. You got to get to know somebody first.
And you can't change anybody. You know, a lot of people go into these relationships thinking, well, you know, yeah, they said this, but I know that's not true. I'm going to make them feel this way, you know, and that will never happen. You can't change anybody. They show their true colors from the beginning. If somebody says something, I can't think right now, but if they say something like, yeah, I'm really not interested in serious relationships, that's what they mean. You know, you're not going to change their mind in a couple of months.
You're not going to charm them when they're changing their mind, right? You be like, I'm going to charm them. I'm going to put it on real good, and they're going to change his mind up.
Cynda, what did Maya Angelou say? When somebody does what?
I don't remember.
Somebody
when
shows
someone
you
shows you,
believe them.
Believe them the
right,
first
exactly.
time. That's right. That's it. Believe them the first time. Don't give them another chance.
You know what's interesting though is that when you're with the right person, you know, there's a couple ways to look at this. When you're with the right person, and you will want to change to better yourself to be worthy of that person. You know, once you get to that point where you're with somebody that you know in your DNA that you want to be with, that you want to make this work, you're going to find things that you can do better, that you can be better. And you know, because I've always looked at relationships, whatever it is, whether it's a crush relationship, I've always looked at it as a triangle. There's me here, there's my partner here, and then there's the relationship up here. So I always look at it like, if this is good for this person, if what I'm going to do is good for this person, it's going to be good for me over here. If I can't answer the question of this, is it going to be good for this person to do? I'll look up here to the marriage. Is it good for the marriage? If I do this, will the marriage benefit? And if the marriage benefits, then both of us down here benefit. That's the way
I like that.
Everything. And
I like that.
Well, that makes you, but you're very self-aware, and you are the type of person that is willing to change. But I think what Charisse said, and I agree with, is the person has to want to change.
Has to want
you cannot make somebody be who you want them to be. So you better make sure they are who you want. And there's more pros to that relationship than cons, because your relationship will die before you can change a person. They have to want to change themselves.
Right.
You know what? I gotta speak to that. Let me speak to that one. The whole change thing. I know I have some bad habits, right? Like
no, not you.
Yeah. Can you believe it? Not
no.
Shelly Shell.
So, but my organization is not my strong suit. But I feel like the man that I want will somehow, I feel like I'm going to change for that person. This is somebody recently. So the little organization in my house, they were coming over, and I was like, man, it will be a first impression that they find out that I'm really like a, not so neat. So I went and transformed. I mean, I took days and really did it. But I had been in a relationship before, prior to, and never did it. But something about this person made me want to be better. So when I say I work for days on this, like, I'm going to get it this way, I'm going to do this. My sister came over, helped me out. I was like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be better. It's not like I'm unorganized, but I want to be better.
So you were being inspired. You were being inspired by what you saw and what you wanted to be your reality. The real question would be, can you continue that so that it continues to be you?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why it has to be for you, ultimately. You might have been inspired by this person, but the change has to be for you.
No, exactly. I really want it. I wanted
for
somebody
you.
I want it for me.
You were inspired by him, but ultimately, if he makes it in your life or not, are you going to stay organized?
Are you going to stay that way?
Is it for you? Is the change ultimately that you make? If someone inspires you to be better, ultimately the change has got to be because it's the better for you, and then ultimately it will be better for you both. But if it's not, if it's something you're changing for someone else, that ain't gonna stick.
It ain't gonna stick.
It has to be a change for you, for your benefit, because you think it makes you a better person, no matter what's to deal with them. Because you might make it with him and you might not. but the changes that you make in your life got to be for you. And on that note, I want to, we're coming near to our music mix. So I would love for starting with Craig, can you please tell our audience how to get in touch with you if they want some financial or filmmaking expertise? How would they reach you?
So my name is CJ Julianis. You can reach me online. You can reach me at my production company's email address, binarystarpictures@gmail.com. Or if you want to email me personally, I'm a regional financial advisor and director for Allstate, and you can reach me at Craig Engel at allstate.com. And I work as a fiduciary, so any advice that I give you is always going to be in your best interest to get you on the right track. And I would love to hear from everybody who's listening.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome.
Charisse, please give us your information, anything you want us to know.
Check out my website at CharisseDavis.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook with at Charisse Davis Productions. And if anybody ever wants to purchase any of my CDs, they can get it from my website, CharisseDavis.com.
And speaking of that, I hope you're listening to the mix. Okay, Malik Truth, please give us your info.
Yes, definitely. I can be reached at Amazon.com is where you can find the design, date, and purpose. If you want to get in touch with me with regards to any type of services that I offer, which could be from a range of quality assurance to business training, I can be reached at Malik's Truth Radio Show at gmail.com.
And you have a radio show. Tell us about it so we can support you.
Yes, it's called Malik's Truth, and it's on BU Radio on Facebook, Instagram, and a couple other platforms that my producer told us, but I don't quite remember. But it's a wonderful show that I discuss a lot of issues that really hit home, and the show is about transparency and truth, and it comes on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern.
All right. Thank you. And Shelly, do you have anything coming up you want everybody to know about?
Sure. It's funny. Tonight, you'll be on TV, Malik. The show that we did about the orgasm deficit comes on tonight at 10:30.
No way.
It does. 10:30.
I like that show.
It was our time.
Okay.
The orgasm deficit. Why so many women have a deficit of orgasm, and we're lacking in the orgasm department anyway.
It's terrifying.
It is. You have to watch the show, but it's right here in Philadelphia, 10:30 p.m. on Comcast 66 Fios 29, and all over the world. If you want to watch it, it's phillycam.org/watch. But it is a great show. Malik was on there. It's a great show. It's all I can say.
You need to type in the address in the notes so I can write that down.
Yeah, put that in our chat.
I sure shall.
I need to watch this.
It was. I learned a lot. I learned a lot of stuff. I just learned some things.
Yeah, I love that therapist. That therapist that was on there was real. Was real.
She was.
Okay.
She's a sex therapist. So for anybody who couples or anything like that, or individuals who need to, learn some stuff. So she's a sex therapist. She's amazing.
So everybody needs to tune in. Also, can I say a Melanated Morning Show every day?
Yes.
Please support DJ Kid Disco. We are on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Tomorrow is going to be fun. We got some guests coming in.
Tomorrow we are going to explore the word
M or F-er.
and the importance of it in American society.
M or F-er, and how I despise that word. We're going to talk about that.
Oh yeah, we're going to change it to father.
Yes, father F-er. We're going to do that, and also my podcast drops this week. It's called Footprints, and it is with D. Chanson-Berry, who I'm going to do a series of podcasts, and he's going to be a guest several times. He's the most amazing filmmaker and documentary maker, and we're going to talk about who he is. And next Wednesday, when we do PPC radio show, we're going to get into one of his most prolific documentaries called Dark Girls, and talking about the whole concept of women, especially, but also men who have been penalized for the color of their skin. So I think it'll be very interesting for us to talk about that from our point of view, Shelly Shell, and from his research. And I think DJ Kid Disco's going to join us in that conversation, because Black folks, we need to talk about this. So we're going to this week. And also Monday night, DJ Kid Disco, we're doing a special show on hair. Tell us about that right quick before we go to DJ Joe Storm.
Speaking of Joe Storm, Shelly, can you send Joe the link real quick? Because
Joe's right here.
Oh, never mind. Yeah, we're going to talk. Well, we had real quick. Shelly ventured into it not Shelly.
Cynda. Seabreeze.
Yeah, you, that one. She ventured into it last week, and I was sitting there, y'all, with the look like, I have no clue what she's talking about. We're talking about women's hair. I don't know. I give my wife money to go get her hair done. That's the list. That's the vast of my experience. So we're going to have part 2, and Shelly's going to be there, and one of our DJs, DJ Sense, and all these Cynthias, she's going to be there as well. And what's the guy's? I keep forgetting his name, Shelly. Cynda. What's the guy's name?
Oh, Cliff Booker. Cliff Booker did my hair for Mo Better Blues. He created my look for that. He's going to join the conversation also Monday night.
Pretty much discuss Black women's hair.
So you cut your hair. Well, that's probably a different story. So you cut your hair for that role?
Yes, he did.
All the way off.
He did everything. He did it all. He created my look, because I was toe up and tore down when he met me, and we will get into that Monday.
Oh, I can't wait.
I definitely want to listen to that one.
All right.
Figure out what wig I'm going to wear for that one. I'm going to wear a different wig for that one.
All right. And we're going to talk about that too. We're going to talk about weaves, wigs, all of it, braids, dreads. We're going to get into the conversation, because it's an interesting, controversial, oddly enough, conversation between some folks. It's strange.
It is.
So on that note, can we move on to the music mix for those that want to stick around, and the rest? Thank you so much. God bless you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
Love
Thank
you so much.
Having me.
Thank you.
Again, y'all, Shelly Shell, Cynda.
You'll be hearing from me, Malik, for the next one. I want you on if you're available. And always, as always, thank you for your wisdom and everything you talk about, Craig. You're amazing. We'll see you.
Craig is the bomb, CJ.
Hey, all right. Malik, call me. I'll be on your show too.
Yeah.
Okay, bro. Okay, for sure.